a couple of things. First thing, again, we will go in the same mode. We will go through one question and then we will go with the concept around that question. And also today I will take one more important topic because a lot of questions are related to that, the Azure CDN, Content Delivery Network, right? So I will take this question, which is this is again a very big question. Actually, it looks small, but the demonstration will take time, right? So let us go and start. So Questpoint support, can you start recording? I'm sorry, I have a cough. Right. So okay. So let's understand this question. Also, what I've done is I have a link down below. Let me go ahead and make a full screen snip. I'm not sure this only one question will take me. Must be the full class because this question is very big. The demonstration is very big, and let us see. And let us try to answer it. So first thing, people who are new today to this session, I would really suggest everyone, you should go and see the Learn Azure series. You should see the AZ900 series, and you should also try to see the AZ204 question sets, which we have in the live recording, right? But if you have come to the class directly, don't worry. I will try to cover some fundamentals so that you can catch up with the class. But I would suggest that in the between of the weekdays, I'm sorry, try to go and see those lessons, right? So let us see this. You are developing an Azure service application. Fine. An Azure service application. So we have an Azure service application here. So there is a service. There is a service that processes queue data. So this service actually processes data from a queue, Frank. Okay. When it receives a message from the mobile application, so there is a mobile application out here which will put it to the queue, right? And the messages may not be sent to the service consistently, right? So messages, so in the other words, that's why he has put a queue out here, right? Okay. So there is a queue, the mobile application puts the data in the queue, and then it goes to this service. This service, think about, can be a web service or whatever, right? Some kind of a .NET code which will do something with this data what is in the queue, right? So, and remember, queue is FIFO, so you can see. So queue, first thing, queue size must not grow larger than 80 GB. So this queue size should not go larger than 80 GB, right? Use the first in first out ordering message. So if I put a queue out here, I think the FIFO, that first in first out, will happen, right? So you need to implement a messaging solution for this. So is this right solution, right? Use the .NET API to add a message to the Azure Service Bus queue. Okay. So what he's saying is that this queue, remember, queue in Azure can be done by two ways. One is you can create a queue in the storage. I will say queue storage. And another one, we have, the how do you say, the Azure service, the Azure, the complete Azure kit for publisher and subscriber, right? So there are two ways of doing it. One is you can use the queue storage or you can use the Azure service bus, right? So he says that use a .NET API to add a message to Azure service bus. Fine. Use a .NET API to add a message to service bus from the mobile application. So from the mobile application, you will, so the way he is looking at the solution, let me just draw this diagram. Let's look at the solution. Let us analyze it. Right. So quickly, let me go here. So use a .NET API. Okay. So you have a .NET API to add a message to the Azure service bus. So basically this Azure service bus is a way to do the queue. So fine. So he's saying that this will be the Azure service bus, right? Remember, Azure service bus is a queue, but it's an advanced queue management system. I'll talk about that. So add a message to the Azure service bus from the mobile application. So basically from the mobile application, and add a message to the service bus to Azure from the mobile application. So from the mobile application, this is your mobile application. From there, he will add it to .NET API. Whatever it is, it will add to the queue, right? And create a Windows VM that is triggered from the Azure service bus queue. So from this Azure service bus queue to process something, he's saying that create a VM. That's really absurd, right? So all things still look good, but like create a VM, it does not make sense, right? So first thing, let's analyze this solution. Definitely, it has a lot of problems. First thing, the mobile application can directly make an entry into the Azure Service Bus. You don't really need this .NET API. So I don't know why he's talking about this, right? You don't need an extra .NET API. Second, once the data comes in the queue, why do you need to go and spawn a VM? This will just make a cost, right? So must be after this you would like to invoke a logic app, or must be you would like to invoke just a simple function app, right? So this solution does not make sense. So this solution is not really a proper solution, right? Okay, it does not meet the goal. Now this question again comes in another format, where there's a right solution. So let me again show that as well. So here it is. Remember, the goal is not to just pass certifications. The goal is to understand as well that when you read the question, are you understanding it, right? So after this, I will show a demo as well. So here is the right solution. So remember, when I take any topic out here, let's say if I show a demonstration of a topic, I will be covering 4 or 5 questions automatically, right? So don't think that in 1 hour, what is he doing? In 1 hour, I'm taking a topic where I'm explaining you the concept, and also ensuring that if you go to the 4204, I'm sure that you will get some questions around this, right? Same thing, and look at this. This is one more thing which comes here. You should minimize the Azure cost, right? So use a .NET API to add to the Azure Service Bus. Okay, this .NET API has still come out here. I don't know. This is the right answer. I know that. Service Bus from the mobile application and create an Azure function app. Yeah, that's right. Create an Azure function app, right? So people who are new here to Azure, right? Remember that in Azure, when you say that you want to go and host a website, so one is that you would like to go and host a website. So a website means you will actually have a full app service, right? This is one way of going and hosting a website. But sometimes you want to just go and host a simple code, just one function or 10 functions. You don't have a page. You just have some logic of code, right? For that, we have function apps. This is less costly as compared to app service. Now, if you have some kind of if you want to do big orchestration and workflows as well, then you also have something called as the logic apps. So there are various ways of putting the .NET code online. You want to host a full website, or you want to host a sample code. So this function app really makes sense over here. That create a function app that uses the Azure Service Bus queue. So here the architecture what he's talking about is as follows. I'm not really sure about that .NET API. I think he's talking about the Azure API. So I'm not sure about the .NET API. Okay, so that .NET API looks to be an Azure API. So let me just show what the proper solution is as follows. From that mobile application or whatever application, you will directly go and add to the Azure Service Bus. You don't need anything in between. And this is exposed via REST, so you don't have to worry about it. So that I don't know why that word he is using, .NET API, must be he should have said REST API, fine. So I assume that that's what he's saying, right? And then this Azure Service Bus, he will actually go and fire an event which will actually go and invoke that function app, and then this function app will do whatever logic it wants to do, right? So now there is one more thing here called as queue as well. Remember, there are 2 kinds of queuing system given in Azure. Just quickly, so let me go to portal.azure.com, and so if you see here, because this question also, I remember in my exam, how the question came was, he did not say Azure Service Bus, he said Azure queues, right? So remember, this is the Azure storage. So if you look at this storage account out here, if you go and if you create a storage account, let me create it. Let me just do that. This one here, I'll just hide it. Create a storage account. Quickly, let me do it. Remember, storage account, I have talked multiple times in the class. That storage account is specifically meant for Azure storages. Azure storages which goes like a platform as a service, right? So I'll go and create a storage account here. Must be Questpond storage, yes. Storage v2, cool, standard, review, create, very simple. Now, one is you have a queue system in the storage account. So I'm creating the storage account, and another one You also have Azure bus, service bus. This is a service bus, which is again a queuing kind of mechanism, right? Now in the exam, what I've seen is, a lot of time this question comes in a tailored way where they say use Azure storage queues. I would say no for that answer. It's not that it's not possible. You can use you can use your Azure storage queues as well. Azure storage queues are for smaller purpose. Means, for example, now let us say you have a website, right? From this website, you want to go and post some data to a very simple other code, which is not really any big Azure functionality. It is some code out there. Then this queue is very good. You are just talking about between two code systems or two systems of your own. Let's say you have an accounting application and you have an inventory application. It makes sense that you want to go ahead and push it to a queue and so on, right? But when you talk about integrating between Azure systems, means what I'm saying is you have a blob storage and then you have a function app, right? So something happens in the blob storage, you want to go and send a message to the function app. You have on Cosmos DB, right? And from Cosmos DB you want to send. Then this service bus comes into picture, which is having publisher subscriber mechanism. So remember that this is a very smaller part, where you just want to talk between two systems, right? So remember, in the exam, probably I would really, it depends on the question, but over here, this thing, very quickly, let me go to that Azure storage. So if you see here, this is the queue. This is Azure storage queue. Please understand. The one which I'm showing here, I will not show the demo. I've shown it multiple times in the class. We also have a video. If you go and create a queue, this queue is not the one which I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a service bus, this one. So please make sure that when you get that question, both of the queues have their own functionality. One is between systems. Another one is between just two applications, must be, I can say, right? So now let us go and do a demo. Let us do a small demo to justify that architecture. Let me do a small demo here. What I will do is, in this demo is, I will not create a mobile application, but I will create a console application, right? Assume that this is a mobile application. Through this console application, I will post it to Azure Service Bus. So I will post it to an Azure Service Bus. Then I will go and I will create a publisher out here, which will publish it to the function app. So let's go and try to do this demo, because once you do this demo, this question, if it comes before you anytime, you would be confidently answering it, right? So let me go ahead. First, let me create an Azure Service Bus. First thing, any questions here before I move ahead? Any questions? Yes, intercommunication, you can say. Yes, let us see any questions. No, Azure Service Bus, Deepak, does not come under Azure storage. No, Azure Service Bus is a different entity. Azure Event Grid, Azure Service Bus, Azure Topics, those are very different kind of. It's Azure Service Bus. It is at a subscription level. Okay, let me talk more about it. You have only one Azure Service Bus. You have only one Azure Service Bus. For example, at this moment, whatever subscription I bought this Questpond interview question subscription out here. If you see out here in my, this is my, I'm sorry for the name, whatever the gmail.com, whatever I have here. So in this subscription, I just get one big Azure Service Bus. And inside this, I will go and I will create my queue. It is very different. In storage, so I have, when you create a storage, you can create multiple storages. You can just keep creating storages. And this queue is inside this storage, this Azure storage. You can have a queue, you can have a blob, you can have a file, right? It's specifically for storage. But here, it's only queues. And you have only one instance of Azure Service Bus. And it's very strong, it's very, very proactive. It can read the messages fast and so on. So on a subscription level, you cannot go and create an Azure Service Bus. You will have an Azure Service Bus. You'll actually subscribe to it, but inside that you will go and create a queue, right? So let me go here. Let me do that demo. So first thing, let us go and see the questions. Event Grid is also one per subscription. Yes. Yes, it is for a smaller thing, Kulkarni sir, for a smaller thing between two applications, between web role and worker role, between console application and web application. These are like customized things. It is not between platform as a service application. Means you want to communicate from this Outlook, to that. So there are different applications made which are at a very bigger level. See, Q, you can use it. I'm not saying you can't use it. But there are certain things about queues here. Must be, let me go out here, because this differentiation is a problem here. One thing is this small queue of Azure Storage Queue, this Azure Storage Queue, one functionality which is not present in Azure Storage Queue, it is not a publisher subscriber mechanism. Means you have a queue, so there is a publisher, there is a subscriber, it is done. Right? It's not that right, he can publish to multiple people who, this topic is people who are interested to know about XYZ, right? And the other subscriber, not, there are three subscribers who will actually subscribe to this topic, and then some another subscriber only can subscribe only to these topics. So what happens is when the publisher sends a message to the topic, it will automatically go and broadcast to everyone. This kind of feature is not there in Azure Queue. So Azure Queue is meant for a smaller purpose, less charges, right? While Azure Service Bus is meant for a bigger purpose, like publisher subscriber mechanism, topics, complex things, and so on, right? And remember that Azure Service Bus can capture a lot of events automatically. For example, from Azure Blob Storage, when the blob is created, I want to go and post an event out here, it is quite difficult. But in case of this Azure Service Bus, a lot of events are automatically tapped if you want it. If you just click the checkbox, those events will be routed automatically. We don't have to code for it as such, right? So Azure Service Bus is more for enterprise kind of interconnection, right? And MSMQ, or I'll say this, look at that. Like, when do you use a BizTalk and when do you use MSMQ? If you see, or if you just go back to 90s or 2000, you had a BizTalk integration server, HIS, right? And this is like, Q is like, you used to install that MSMQ, small one, MSMQ or RabbitMQ, and you used to just send messages. It's for a smaller purpose, right? So let me go out here. Let me create an Azure Service Bus. So, okay, I'll show this demo, guys. This demo is going to be a big one. If I make a mistake out here, if something happens, please excuse me, right? Azure Service Bus. Because none of these demos I have practiced, really means I just have a brief idea what to do, right? But some of these demos really crash at the end. Right. So REST 1, resource 1. Oh, there's already resource 1. Fine. Let's add it to it. Remember, I said it's very easy to delete a resource. So let us create a service here, QuestSpawn Bus. Pricing model. Well, I'll just take a basic one and create. So I'm creating an Azure Service Bus. Remember that, as I've said, it's only event grids and Azure Service Bus. When I say I create, it does not create a really instance. It attaches to the main subscription instance. Now inside this, I will go and I will create a queue. So there it is, getting created. Also, what I will do is, let us go and create a function app as well. So let us go and create a function app as well. You can see a function app. We'll just create and keep it, because this also takes time. So function app, this function app will read from that queue, right? REST 1, QuestSpawn. What is a stack? .NET Core. So this code will be in .NET Core. And I'll say, we are not putting the code still, we are just creating the function app. The code has to be put as a separate process. So there it is, this is also done. So my service bus is getting created and my function app is also getting created, right? So there it is, function app getting created. Azure Service Bus takes a bit of time. Okay. Now let the Azure Service Bus get created at the back end. Now from .NET, I want to go and make a post to the service bus, right? So okay, here it is created, guys. So let us go and see that. No, it is still getting creating. Okay, sorry for that. So here is an URL which is again going towards docs.microsoft.com, and it says here how to go and connect through any C# code or a .NET code. Remember, at the left hand side you will see that if you want to connect to Java or if you want to connect to Node.js or Python, I'm using .NET at this moment to connect. So first thing, if you want to go and connect to an Azure Service Bus, you need to go and install this Azure Service Bus nugget, and then you have this small code out here which says qclient.sendasync. and the message is just sent, right? So let me go ahead and create a console application. So I'm going to go and create a console application out here very quickly. Guys, I'm doing a lot of things now in the same time, so try to follow. Create a new project, and that's how AZ204 exam is all about. It is all about that will you be able to do programmatic things with Azure. So let's create this application. So first step, let's follow this tutorial. It's a very good tutorial. All the tutorials of Azure which are on docs.microsoft.com are good. Only when they don't update it, when they do some updation, the development team does some updation and the docs is not updated, it is really very worrisome. So what you can do in those kind of situations is down below when you see, normally there's a feedback page. I'm sure that you must be reading this docs. So normally in this feedback page, if something is wrong out there, you will see some kind of a feedback or a solution discussed, right? So at this moment, this is a straightforward thing. So here it is, my console application, and I will go here, view solution explorer. Let us go and manage Nugget packages. Let's do that. And let's install Azure Service Bus. Microsoft Azure Service Bus, fine. So Azure Service, yeah, I can see in my history. So this is what we need to install. I'm going to go and install it. Now remember that when you are connecting from any C# code or Java code, to any kind of infrastructure of Azure, they always give you some kind of a connection string, first thing, with a password and with a strong user ID and so on, right? So even from here, if I want to go and connect to that Azure Service Bus, I need to get the connection string. So here it is restoring packages. What happened? Sometimes Visual Studio. Okay. I don't know from where it comes. It comes very late. Fine, it has come here. I accept. It is getting downloaded. Let us parallelly also go back there and start looking at things. So you can see here, this is good. Let's say go to resource. This is the function app. No, I don't want this. You will see that code later on. What is this? This one is function app. That one is, I think, the storage. Where is my service bus? Service bus, yeah, there is a service bus, right? So there is a service bus. Inside this, let us go ahead and create a queue. So you can see there is something called as a queue here. And I will go and I will add a queue. Now remember that you can add a topic also, you can add a queue also. So at this point, I'm going to go and add a queue, create a queue. So let's say QuestPon queue. Remember in the question, there was a question of the size as well, saying that, it has to be max this much. This, I'm not sure if it is present in the queues. So that again tells me that there is one more question which comes with Azure storage queues. I will mark it as wrong because that kind of size management is not there really in the Azure storage queues. It is at the storage level, but not at the queue level, right? So that's what again. So message for the message to live in. So 14 days the message will live until it is read. And message of lock. Message of lock means, if somebody reads the message from the queue and if he does not do anything, then how much time that lock should be enabled, right? So that is the lock out here. So I'll just go and create the queue. At this moment, our main goal is to just go and make a posting out here. So this is QuestPon queue, right? So let's go out here. Let's start writing code. I can see that. So guys, I'm doing it parallelly. I'm trying to do things parallelly out here. So the queue is getting created. Okay, it has got created. Fine. So there is a queue. Now, first thing which I need is I need an access to this queue. I need some kind of a connection string to the service bus, right? So I'm going to go to the service bus out here, and over here I will try to get the queue key. Where is the key? Access control. No. Why I minimize this? Sometimes I am myself lost. Okay, there it is. Right. So that is the key out here. I'm so sorry. They have given that in the shared access thing. So you can see there's a primary key and there is a secondary key out here, and that is the connection string. Now, one of the questions which can come to, I'm sorry, I just got lost. Sometimes, what happens here, there is nice name called as connection string. And sometimes, they say shared access policy. So it's so difficult. Okay, so now here, this is the primary connection string and secondary connection string. Why they have given two keys and two primary connection string? Why two things? Now, what happens is, think about that you have given this queue access to thousands of clients. So for thousands of clients, you give this primary connection string and you're working, right? Now, suddenly what happens is that, let's say your primary connection string, you want that those 1,000 clients, you want to just close it off. You don't want them, right? So what you will do now is you will give this, and you want from the 1,000 clients, you want some of the people to still stay. They have to be given access, and you do not want to change anything in the infrastructure. So what you can do temporary, you can give him the secondary one, and you can disable this primary connection string, right? So you can go and you can happily delete the primary connection string. So all the people are excluded, and the people who are new, they can still continue with your secondary connection string and still work with the same kind of data, right? So I'll just take the primary connection string out here. So let's see the code out here. Let's see the code. So first thing in the code, yeah, all that. So first thing using service bus. I'm going to shamelessly now start copy pasting. So there it is. Second is what? Second, he needs some service bus and IQ client, fine. So I'm going to go here and just paste this. So one is he needs a connection string, one is he needs a queue name, fine. So I'm going to go and take, this is the connection string, primary connection string. Remember that always put your connection strings into app config files and app settings.json and so on, right? Queue name, so remember inside the service bus we had a queue, right? So I'm going to go and see the queue as well. Queue name, what did I give? Queue name was questpond queue. So I'm going to go and copy this questpond queue, right? So that's the queue name. Nice, right? So if I want to go and connect to the queue, let's see how to go and connect to the queue. So queue client is equal to new queue client. Fine, I'm going to go and copy this code here. Very simple. There it is. So this is the queue client. I know that they have made a static object. Let's stick to that. So the connection string and the queue name. So one connection string can have multiple queues, right? So that's good. I can see lots of things out here, but let us go and stick to very basics, So we'll just go and put this message directly. So rather than doing all that, what I'll do is I'll just make the code more simple. So here, let's create a message out here. Let me go and delete all this. So I'm going to go and create a message. Let's say hello, right? And let's use this encoding, which is belonging to the system.text. And that's the message. So this is the message, what I want to send them, right? Message, right? Okay, I don't need this. This is done. So I'm going to go and send the message out here. So very easy. I have, I know that in the document, lots of codes were there. I just compressed this whole thing into the 2-3 lines of code. So create the queue client, create a message object and post it. Now you can see this is send async. So if it is send async, that means I need to go and put here async. Remember async and await. So both are there. So I've just made my static void as async. So now this is all ready. It can now make a post. It can send a message to the queue, right? So at this moment, let us go and check this if this code runs or not. So if you see at this moment my queue, in my queue, I don't think I have any message out here. So I can just go to my service bus explorer and so there it is. So I can see that there are no messages, 0 messages active, 0 messages dead. Dead means people cannot read it or scheduled or whatever, right? So send, receive, and peek. So let's go ahead and let's connect online. So now think that question, which said that errors. That question said that it will post from a mobile application. What is that? What was the error? Build it. Cannot contain static. Program does not contain a static method. Okay, isn't that static? Yeah, this has to be a task. Remember when you are having an async, it has to be a task. So he's confused, I think, because this await will return a task, so it cannot be void, right? Fine. I hope this will compile. Build solution. Okay, good. So that looks good. So guys, please go ahead and read this document. This document has lots of things, how you want to go and create a dead letter queue, how you want to receive a queue, how you want to do this and that. I will not really go into that. I'm sure that as a .NET developer, you can easily understand it. I just made it from that whole document. I just compressed into 2-3 lines of code which are needed. So I'll run this. Right, so there it is running. So now I'm going to go and say new queue client, new message object, and send a sync. So there it is sending the message now to the Azure queue. And once the message is sent, or looks like everything is successful, so we can close this application and let's go ahead and check in the queue. So refresh, they don't have a refresh button. That's so sad. So I'm just Service Bus Explorer. Let's see. And one of the things we should always do is we should close the client, which I did not do in my code. So that it is, you can see guys, there is one message. There is one message out here. I can go and I can receive this message. If I receive this message, right, this is from the portal URL, I'm receiving the message. There you can see my message. If I click on this, I can see the text hello. So everything is working, which is good, right? Remember, in a queue, when a message is read, it is deleted. That's what the goal of queue is. So you can see here, until you make it a durable queue, which I don't want to do it for now. So if you see now, once the message is read from anywhere, it is read from a portal, it is read from a .NET Core client or anywhere, right? The message is deleted. So you can see there are 0 messages now, right? So good. So we are done with the first part of our architecture, which we're discussing, the one which you're talking about. So I'm able to make a call from my console application to the Azure Service Bus, right? So let's see what we have completed. So from the console app, I'm able to make a call to the Azure Service Bus, right? Well, I shouldn't always draw a queue. I should say there is an Azure Service Bus. Inside that, there is a queue. So it's making a call to the queue. Now, the next thing is from this queue, I should be able to go and make a call to the function app, right? So now what the function app has to do is the function app has to listen to this event of the Azure Service Bus. It has to subscribe. It has to subscribe to the Azure Service Bus event, right? So I'm going to go to my function app now. So function app, go there. Function app, and over here, I want to go ahead. First thing, let's add a function. We need to add some code, right? This is just the placeholder to host, but some code has to be written. So I'm going to go and just add a code out here. So now to add the code, the first thing he says, okay, tell me what is the trigger to run this function app, right? So we need to go and subscribe. You can see lots of things out here, but Azure Service Bus queue trigger. So I'll say whenever there is a call in Azure Service Bus queue, I want to run this and make a connection. So I'm going to go and make a new connection out here, which will be going to this namespace and this key, shared key. Remember that root message shared key. See, between the Azure services also this key will be used, the public key and the primary key and the secondary key. So you can see that's why this policy. So I'll do this. And my queue name was not my queue. I think it was something else. It was QuestPond queue. So I'm going to go and put this thing out here called as QuestPond queue out here. I'll say create function. Great. So we have now a function which is triggered once some data comes in the queue, right? So there it is. At this moment, if you see, it does not have any code as such. It will have some basic code, but I don't think so that means I'm not putting any custom coding as such, right? So let us see what kind of sample code is given by the .NET people. Am I audible or am I there? Yes. Everyone can hear me, right? Sometimes what happens is I'm in a mood of my demo. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Everyone is alert. I'm happy. Okay. Because that I used to see all the list out here. Now I'm taking the training from the browser. I have to switch between the browser, right? So you can see this code is out here. You can access the my queue item. You can access my queues. You can get the object and you can do a lot of things. We'll not go into that, right? So let us go ahead now, fire the queue out here. So what I will do is I would like to monitor here. I would like to monitor that when the call is made to that queue, when the message is sent, right? I want to go and monitor out here, and I want to do real monitoring, because what happens is this success count does not get incremented automatically. It does not get incremented at the same time. It takes like 2, 3, 4 minutes, to update out here. So I will go to the logs. So in the logs, there is a live monitoring given here, which is by application insight. Application insight is a feature given in Azure where everything you can go and you can monitor it live. You can get an insight of your application running, what kind of logs are created and so on. So I have just opened up application insight out here. Let's see now. So I'm going to go and run this. So there it goes. Message is there. Queue client sent. Let me go here now. Over here, there it is. Message has been sent. Let's go very quickly out here. Nothing. Ooh, there it is. You can see now the function has been triggered. The function has been triggered, and oh, even the message has been received. The message also has been received. The sample code is awesome, what they have given in function app. The message hello is also out there. And let us go to our queue now. Let's go to our queue as well. So the corresponding queue should have 0 records. It should have 0 records. So basically, if I go out here to 0 messages. That's right. There are no messages at this moment in the queue because it has been read, right? And also, which I discussed, that this this function app, right? That live thing is good. If you see now, for example, let me go to my function. If you see out here in the monitor, one was I use the live monitoring, but if you see here, it does not update very soon. That's why I went to the logs out here. You can see it is still showing 0 out to me out here. Must be after some time the data will be shown. So remember, the invocations, the messages, you can see it may be delayed up to 5 minutes, right? So don't get so much hyper, when you don't see a message out here. That's why I use a live log, to see the values, right? So that was the demo as well as the answer to these 2 questions. We can just go through that again, those questions. These 2, actually the questions comes in 3 formats. This typical question comes in 3 formats as a case study. So first one, where he talks about creating a VM and confuses you. Second one is a proper answer, and in the third one he talks about Azure storage queues. Be alert out there, right? So for this you are developing this and this and this. Use the .NET API, create a VM. No, we don't need to create a VM. Does this solution meet the goal? No. Second, the same question, but here now he says creating an Azure function app and use the Azure bus queue trigger. Yes, the solution is yes, right? So any questions? Let me know any questions on this demo. If you have any questions, you can put down on the chat. Okay, live log. Yeah, Manish sir, let me show you the live log again. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, let me show that again. I think people missed it. So you can see here, you go to the function. For example, this is my function. I'll go to the function. When you see this, this is the integration. There are 3 things here. One is a code. This is your source code. What do you have out here? I really didn't like this. My source code can be seen by anyone, like changed by anyone. That's something I don't want it. Fine. So that is a code, and that is the integration. This integration will tell you how your workflow is. Look at this. The Azure bus triggers gets triggered by the console application, and the console application will call the function app, and then function app will do something. At this moment, I did not add an output. If I want, I can add an output as well. And then we had monitor. In the monitor, we have 2 kinds of monitoring in the function app. One is invocation. In this invocation, you can see still now, okay, now it is seen. You can see now that message has been seen. This invocation can show you the message out here, the calls which are made. And in the logs, this is where you go for the live. You go for the logs. It connects to application insight, and then you can go and you can start seeing live things out here. Please wait for this thing to get connected. Then only you can see the live messages. So this is, there is a bit of delay because of the application inside. You can see now I'm seeing 1. Previously, even just like some seconds back, I did not see 1, right? So quite late it is. That's why I use these logs out here. I hope, Mani, that answers your question. Yes. Any questions, guys, on the whole demo? Queue depth and queue quota all are same. No, they are not really same as such. They are different. I think we should sometimes, I will not take it now, sometimes we should just take Azure Service Bus queue details. So they are different actually. Function key, I'm not sure what is. Yes, they have lots of similarities. Service bus and event grids have a lot. See, event grid is actually very much global. Like even if you look at the service bus, I can still go and create some kind of instances. Event grid is not like, you can't create any instance as such. You have to subscribe to event grid. So they are quite different. Okay, there's one question here. Can event grids connect to CDN? What is CDN for? Not sure. CDN is for different things. We have one, now also we have a topic on CDN, Content Delivery Network, but it has, no, today's syllabus there is something called a CDN, but it does not have any connection directly with Azure Service Bus. Right. Okay, so okay, I'll answer that question, Priyanka, because I know that. Let me take that question after the class. Let us talk about CDN, Content Delivery Network. Remember that in our Azure syllabus, we have a Content Delivery Network topic, and there are 4 or 5 questions, which keeps hitting around Content Delivery Network. So first thing, CDN is not a new thing. CDN is something there for a long time. So can anyone tell me what exactly is a CDN? Content Delivery Network. What exactly is it? I'm going to go and pop up a PPT here as well, which will tell you this is Microsoft's PPT. So point of presence pop. So what exactly is a CDN? Yes. Cache, and something more to that, Amit. Cache to your nearby location. That's very important. Yes, CDN is a cache, but it tries to do it from a point of presence. Means, for example, now let's say this is your website, and let's say this Mr. Alice is sitting somewhere in US. So you'd like to get a replica copy of your website into this point of presence, which is in US, nearby to his location. So yes, it is a cache server. In Azure, they say it's an edge server, right? I don't like this word edge server, but it's an edge server. And whichever is the point of presence, wherever the user is nearby, he tries to serve them, right? So let's go and see that how to go and create, how to use CDN. Yes, cache static content, or I will say content which does not change, but into your nearby location. And because Azure is so global, it has so many data centers, this is a very easy thing for him, right? So where I will use CDN? I will use CDN when I create a website. So if I have a website, I will create a CDN, right? So let me go ahead and create an Azure service out here, an Azure app service. So I'm going to go and create, let's create an app service. An app service is meant for websites, right? So I'm going to go and very quickly add an app service out here. App service, a simple one. Let's give a name here, QuestPond website, QuestPond web. Runtime stack, let me select .NET Core. .NET Core can run on Linux. I can select this, but you know why? When I try to select this, I do get some errors, unwanted errors. So let me keep it Windows for now, but definitely you can go and select Linux as well, right? Because if you see here, if I try this out, I don't know why. It's because of the region. I was getting some errors. Let me try it, because Linux is cheaper, huh? Linux is cheaper. You can see that's the problem. I'm really not sure it's because of the location, because what happens is if I go and if I change this to Windows, so I need to really check why it is showing that error. The review and create, now it works. I hope that .NET Core is really cross-platform. Sometimes these kind of things, like I select Linux and .NET Core, Azure is rejecting. Then what about the common developer who's trying to deploy .NET Core into Linux? It works, guys. It works completely on Linux. I'm just saying that why that kind of errors I should see. So you can see here this website is getting created. Once this website gets created, in this website, we have we get an URL first thing, and it also gives you some static page. It will give you some static page out here. So here it is. That's the QuestPond web. So let's go here. App service. Oh, still not created. And also what I will do is, till then, let me go and create a web MVC core application out here, which I can go and I can publish it out there, right? So I'm going to very, very quickly, a default MVC core application, I will create it. I will add a new project out here and let me create a default MVC core application. Remember, I'm selecting MVC core because I selected the runtime as MVC core. And please understand that if you selected 3.1, ensure you are on 3.1, right? So create this, and yeah, I am on 3.1. That is good. And I'll just create this, and I will try to host this into that app service which I have here, right? So there it is. So let's go back again here to the website. I hope my web application is created. So there it is. Questpond web is created. There is Questpond web out here. And at this moment, this Questpond web is hosted on this Azure websites.net. There is a default page. There's a default page out there where this website is hosted, right? Now let me go and let me go now and create a CDN, right? So to create a CDN, let us go to the networking tab. So we need to go to the networking tab out here. If you're not able to locate it, please type networking. So networking tab, and in that I will go and I will create an Azure CDN. So you can see configure on CDN for your application. So you want to create a new one. Yes, let's say Questpond CDN. Now you can see in CDN there is a pricing tier out here. Microsoft, Verizon, Akamai, and so on, premium. What exactly are this? This says that if you pay less money, if you pay less money, you will be replicated like in 7 days. If you pay more money, you will be replicated every hour if your code changes, right? So it's just about, you know, how much. So if you look at the pricing details out here, beautiful pricing details. So that's what it is, you know. So this is content purge. So where is the actual difference, you know, because the other things are all okay, but this one, this content purge, you know, when it will be purged. So okay, let's not okay, I'll show this later on. But that pricing tier, you know, if you see those pricing tier, they are meant for that. So I'll show you the actual list, because there it is only showing the features, right? But more than the features, the replication is again the most important thing when it comes to CDN. So for now, let me go back again here. Let me just configure CDN. Questpond CDN. I will just select the standard one, and let me say this is, what is this? .NET Core CDN, right? So you can see original, the host name is Questpond web.azurewebsites.net. So originally where our application is, it is here, Questpond Azure Websites.net, right? And we want to replicate it to this CDN, .NET Core.AzureEdge.net, right? So we will have two URLs now. One URL which is of the Azure Edge, the Edge servers. So one URL which is of this, and another URL of this. If you hit this URL directly, right? If you hit this URL directly, you are still going to go to the Edge servers. If you hit this URL directly, you go here. But if you hit to the Edge servers, you go on the cache, right? So there it is. You can see it is creating. The CDN takes a bit time to create. Please note. Why? Because it has to go and it has to create a copy of the web service or app service. It has to use that .NET Core 3.1. It has to do all that, you know, what you have done out here. It's like replicating to and fro, right? So you can see it will take a bit of time. And then what I will do is, I will try to go and publish this website. If I publish this website, what will happen is it will go and it will publish on the source. But the CDN won't get affected. The CDN will have the old cache. Then how do we go now and clear the cache? How do we purge it? You know, so that demo we'll see. So for now, let us first go and see this creating CDN endpoint. So till then, guys, any questions? You know, I'll show that demo. But any questions on what is this CDN? CDN is for static information. Yes. Do we need to specify the nearest location? No, you don't have to. See, the nearest location depends on the end user, right? If I'm logging from India, then you should try to get me a location near India if possible, right? So what it really does is when you create a CDN, remember again, CDN are pretty costly. Don't try to just create CDN because it's cheaper, right? CDN are costly as well. You know why? Because it tries to create a lot of replicas, and that's why it takes time. You can see here, I will show you the bill, must be, if you can remind me in the next class. You can see CDN point created. Very good. So let's go there. It is done. So let's see that. Tick. Resource groups. Let's see. There should be one which is off. This is the .NET Core CDN. You can see here. That's the .NET Core CDN. So if I now go here to the .NET Core Edge, remember, he must have now replicated. Oh, still it is happening. Why? What happened? It did not. Isn't my website running? This is my source website, but for some reason it is not doing out here. So let me do like this. Let me try to do a purge. If I try to do a purge, it will try to replicate it. So I'm going to go and do a purge. He says that do you want to purge some single files or purge all? So at this point I'll just say purge all, and let us see. Guys, for some reason that when I created the Azure CDN, it did not do a proper replication out there. So I just went ahead and I purged it. So with that, cannot find. It's a new endpoint. It might not be ready yet. So you should check in a few minutes. Okay. Looks like I rushed a lot. Right. So guys, okay. I was trying to show this demo, but this looks like it is that the CDN is okay. Right. So by using this purge out here, you can replicate between both of them, right? So what my demo was going to be, I'll not do the demo because I've already shown you the button of purge. I was trying to go and host from here. So when I will go and I will say publish this website to my app service, this CDN will not get updated. That's what I wanted to show you. You can see, okay, let's do this demo. You can see here, there it is. Now both my websites are in sync. So this is my Questpond web and this is this, right? Now let me go from here and let me host my web application. So I'm going to go and say build and publish. And I will say don't select a new one, select an existing one. And oh, it was not Linux, right? So I'll just take Windows out here, create profile, and ensure that you are logged in into your Microsoft account out here, and then log in with your subscription. So pay as you go. The resource group is REST1, and I want to publish this website to Questpond web. So quickly, and I'll just say publish. Right. So now you can see here I'm publishing my new MVC core application into that website out there. But what will happen is it will go and it will update this origin, but it will not update this edge server until I don't press purge. That replication will not happen, right? So there it is, adding all the jQuery and all, everything is all going online. One of the things about Azure which is really for smaller companies is still the cost. Okay, there it is. Because of what I see in smaller companies, they say that let us host on Azure, and when the actual hosting comes, they see a great cost and they don't go for Azure and they host it in a simple web server, you know. So that's I've seen in smaller companies. Guys, smaller companies, I'm seeing that trend. So I just hope that they keep adding more VMs, they keep adding more hardware, and just one day make server. And don't think that whatever I'm saying now will not happen. It will happen that you will have a server at $10 and $5. You know, those kind of scenario will come soon, because you know the capex will keep decreasing as they keep earning money, both Amazon and Microsoft, and as well like Alibaba or whatever are those. You know, so their hardware cost will keep coming down, and there will be a time where they will just charge you for the bandwidth, right? So guys, here it is. You can see this is MVC core getting updated, but now let us go and see the endpoint. The endpoint means .NET Core Azure. This one, look at this. This is your source. This is updated, but here this will not be updated. You can see I'm refreshing, but it is still showing me the old cached page. And if I want to do it, I will just do a purge out here, and then it will get reflected after some time, right? So that was the Azure CDN. I see that I have only 5 questions out here, and 5 minutes out here, I'm sorry. So I won't take the Azure CDN question now. We'll take it tomorrow, right? So there was one question here which was related, I think, towards the course, So I saw that. I think I lost it. After Azure, what is the topic you are planning to take? So first thing, Priyanka, what we will be doing is that this Azure will move slowly into a one-day course, because we want to take this Azure to a certain level, and after that we'll just do one day, like how we are doing data structure. We are doing data structure for a long time, right? Data structure on Saturday, Sunday will not happen. Data structure is Tuesday now. It will be every Tuesday, and it will go for a long time, right? So that's what. So data structure will go for a long time. Azure 204 will also go for a long time, guys. I want to just make it very clear. And there are a lot of other topics which we are targeting. Must be mobile development using Ionic, and then we have design patterns, and then we have some topics which are there. So we'll see that after the class. Okay, let us see. How do we check if the static files come from CDN? You can do a ping. You can do a ping. For example, look at this. This is Azure Edge. So you can just do a ping out here. So both the IP addresses are different. So if you do a ping, look at this. This is the .NET Core Azure CDN. IP address is 13.107. So that's a different server. If I go and ping out here to Questpont Azure websites, which is actually my web application, if you see here, this should be a different IP address. They can't fool us, right? If they start fooling us, then we are having problems. You can see this is 52.165 and this is 13.107. And what you can also do is, if you try to do a trace RT, you'd be very like, so if you do a trace RT out here, you will find that this location is, I'm at this moment in Mumbai. So this location would be somewhere near Mumbai, must be Bangalore, but because I don't know if Mumbai has a data center where he has pushed it. So if I do a trace RT out here, just to trace that where this server is, I'm expecting that it will find out, it will be somewhere nearby to my location as compared to the Azure, actual Azure source, right? So this trace RT will take time, but we'll see this, right? So yes, definitely you can see the IP addresses are different. So, right. So, so Prabha, you can see that the IP addresses are different, right? So don't have to, you should try to do all this R&D out here, which will help you to understand things better. Just by, remember Azure, you don't become a master in Azure or any topic just by giving certification. This certification I've taken up here because without this people don't come. They will not come to my class. If I tell them I'm teaching you MSMQ, nobody comes. But if you tell them that, okay, I'm going to help you pass 204, everybody comes, right? But I don't want to say like this, just take this question, yes, no, then take the next question, yes, no, take one question, A, B, C, D. That I want to avoid in this class. So I know that I'm going slow, but believe me that if you complete this 204 with me, whatever time it takes, must be 2 months or 1.5 months, right? So I don't know what is there with that certification, but you will be completely hands-on on Azure. You would be like using Azure as if you're using .NET, right? So let's take here. So there it's MSN.NET. That is BOM. That's near to me. So that looks to be a Bombay server. Okay. So that's for you guys to hunt again for your IP addresses, right? So thank you very much, guys. It's almost 10 o'clock. Let's respect time.